My husband's mistress was trapped in the elevator interlayer for half an hour. In a fit of seething rage, he stuffed me into a suitcase and fastened the lock with finality. You must endure double the suffering that Xiaowen has undergone. I huddled myself into a ball, gasping for breath, and tearfully admitted my faults. However, what I received in return was my husband's frigid rebuke. Undergo your punishment properly. Only through this lesson can you learn to be compliant. He locked the suitcase containing me into the wardrobe. I let out despairing roars and my struggles caused my tears to spill from the suitcase, soaking the floor. 5 days later, his heart softened momentarily, and he decided to end the punishment. A minor punishment to serve as a solemn warning. I'll spare you this time. But he was unaware that my bones had already decayed beyond recognition. As for that Du Fu, why hasn't he come to create trouble these days? Even if one has learned to be obedient and understand the rules, some punishment is still necessary to make one truly sensible. The assistant beside him suddenly had his expression freeze. Boss, Miss Su. It seems she still hasn't been released. Fu Xingzhou's eyes quivered slightly, and he quickly suppressed it. It's fine to let her reflect for a few more days. The assistant beside him opened his mouth several times but hesitated. Eventually, he said with hesitation, Boss in Jinbi, a foul stench is wafting from Miss Su's room. Don't you want to go and take a look? Fu Xingzhou's voice turned cold in an instant. It's normal for there to be a stench. She's the kind of woman who would stop at nothing to cling to life. To maintain her bodily functions, she would surely make use of even her excrement. How could there not be a stench? The assistant was about to say something more but was interrupted by Fu Xingzhou. He furrowed his brows filled with loathing. Enough, stop talking. I'll release her tomorrow. After these days, she should be docile and sensible. Once she's out, she'd better offer a sincere apology to N. Then I'll consider this matter closed. Scarcely had he finished speaking when Lin Xiaowen walked in barefoot. Fu Xingzhou's eyes instantly softened. N, are you still having nightmares? Rest assured. I've severely punished Su Jiqing. I'll make her repay the sufferings you've endured 100-fold or even 1,000-fold. He picked up Lin Xiaowen and gently ran his fingertips through her hair. Lin Xiaowen nestled her head in his arms and said coquettishly, Brother Xingzhou, you're the best to me. Lin Xiaowen nestled her head in his bosom and said coquettishly, I assume Sister Su has realized her mistake. I merely wanted her to apologize to me. I never intended for her to be punished. I hope Sister Su won't resent me. Watching their affectionate and sweet display, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. However, nothing was disturbed for I was already dead. In the final moment of suffocation and despair, I floated out of that narrow and terrifying suitcase. From a third-person perspective, the surface of the suitcase had been saturated with blood. The wardrobe that concealed the suitcase was locked with a large lock, as if attempting to trap the person inside, never allowing escape for all eternity. Having become a soul, I was also so frightened by that suffocating scene that I closed my eyes. On the other hand, Fu Xingzhou was softly comforting Lin Xiaowen. Did you have another nightmare? Don't be afraid. I'll always be by your side. He gently scratched Lin Xiaowen's face. You've been wronged, Inen. You know. She would even make use of her own excrement to survive. She values her life so much, yet dared to harm you. I'll make her pay the price. I stood there stunned, unable even to shed a tear. What Fu Xingzhou said was true. I did desperately want to live. The suitcase was very small. To stuff me in, Fu Xingzhou brutally broke my hand. I endured the excruciating pain and tried to escape. When I realized it was futile, I then tried my best to conserve my strength and bide my time. But he had forgotten that I was pregnant before being stuffed in. The long-term contorted posture pressed on my stomach, causing me excruciating pain. I lost control of my emotions but was unable to resist. In the final moment of my life, my intense will to survive erupted. I roared and struggled, desperately scratching the zipper with my toenails in an attempt to find a glimmer of hope for survival. However, what I received was his heartless judgment. You're so frightened. Wasn't Ding Yin even more helpless at that time? Only by experiencing pain here can you learn to be good. I helplessly admitted those crimes that did not belong to me, only praying that he would spare me, until a pool of blood flowed from my lower abdomen and I completely lost my strength. In a trance, I only heard him say that I was too noisy and still didn't understand the rules. He locked me up to make me be quiet and reflect. I pleaded hoarsely but could do nothing. I could only watch as the large lock fell, until the last glimmer of light extinguished. Let Su Jiqing out. Make her clean up before coming to admit her fault. Don't let her dirty Dangon's eyes with the stench of excrement and urine. Fu Xingzhou's tone was cold. The assistant responded awkwardly. Lin Xiaowen with bright eyes surrounded Fu Xingzhou. Brother Fu, when Sister Jiqing comes out, you should comfort her well. Don't make her angry again. After all, you two are husband and wife. You can't make things look so ugly. A hint of impatience flashed in Fu Xingzhou's eyes, but he gently kneaded Lin Xiaowen's fingertips. How dare she? Because of her mistake, you were trapped in the elevator interlayer for a whole half hour. I can't even imagine how scared and helpless you were at that time. You're always so kind, which is why Su Jiqing keeps pushing her luck. Fu Xingzhou suppressed the anger in his tone, as if afraid of scaring Lin Xiaowen. But those words that reached my ears all turned into irony and mockery. A week ago, Lin Xiaowen took advantage of Fu Xingzhou's meeting and came to provoke me. So what if you're pregnant? Even if you give birth, your child won't get Brother Xingzhou's love. Your child is as annoying as you. I was too lazy to argue with her and just coldly said, "Get lost." But I didn't expect that when she was getting off the elevator, there was an elevator malfunction and she got stuck in the interlayer. While she was trapped, she sent a long message on WeChat. "Goodbye, Xingzhou. I might not be able to get out. I want to say goodbye to you. I know Sister Su doesn't like me. I just hope that after I'm gone, you can take good care of you instead of me, Brother Xingzhou. We'll meet in the next life." When Fu Xingzhou saw the message, he directly terminated the meeting and rushed back like crazy. He mobilized all the rescue forces and finally found Lin Xiaowen, who was unconscious in the elevator interlayer. I stood not far away and watched as he held Lin Xiaowen and howled miserably, "And don't leave me." At that time I thought they were ridiculous. Was it really necessary? She was just trapped for half an hour, but it was as if it was a life and death separation. But when Fu Xingzhou grabbed my hair and forcefully stuffed me into the suitcase, I realized that love and affection belonged to them, while the disaster was mine. "Do you know what you've done? Anin has claustrophobia. You almost killed her. Even if she was rescued, she would have an indelible shadow. Su Jiqing, I want you to know that you're not qualified to act willfully just because you're my wife. If you don't admit your mistake, you won't be allowed out." Even now, he still had a cold expression, waiting for me to obediently come and admit my mistake. Unfortunately, he wouldn't get his way. "Boss Miss Su. She has no signs of life." Fu Xingzhou was stunned for a moment. I carefully observed his reaction, thinking that he would at least be moved by me. But he just smiled indifferently. Keep pretending. Evil people live a long life. Could she really die so easily? Call the crematorium and have her body burned. Fu Xingzhou gently knocked on the table with his knuckles and said indifferently, "Tell her that if she doesn't clean up within half an hour and come here on her own, I'll continue to punish her until she doesn't dare to cause any more trouble." The assistant stood there wanting to say something, but was angrily rebuked by Fu Xingzhou. "What are you still standing here for? Do you want to be punished too?" He hugged Lin Xiaowen and said gently, "Anin, don't be soft-hearted. We must be tough. I'll make her kneel and apologize to you. That's the punishment for her. You mustn't feel sorry for her." Lin Xiaowen looked extremely reluctant. "Brother Xingzhou, I can't even hate her. But for some reason my soul seemed to be imprisoned and I couldn't escape. I could only be forced to watch as Fu Xingzhou scolded me and laughed at me. This was the man I had loved for 10 years. I had followed him like a shadow for 3 years in high school, 4 years in university, and another 3 years after we got married. But I didn't know that from beginning to end, he regarded me as his stain. I thought that my sincere heart would melt the iceberg. The day he accepted my confession, I was so happy that I couldn't sleep all night. But I didn't know that he married me because his company's capital chain was broken, and he needed my financial support. In the 2 years since I married him, I did my best to support his career and took great pains to take care of him and please him. He also changed bit by bit. He would wait for me to come home and make me breakfast. When my stomach hurt, he would gently massage me. I almost thought that I had won his love. The day I found out that I was pregnant, I was so excited that I circled around him, but he was extremely cold. "Su Jiqing, you said you're pregnant?" I didn't detect the doubt in his words and naively nodded. But Roroqing couldn't get pregnant. Where did this child come from? You know very well. I clumsily did a lot of things to prove myself. I relayed the doctor's words to Fu Xingzhou and told him that after 9 weeks, it would be stable and we could check. "I will never betray you." I didn't know that on the day I found out I was pregnant, Lin Xiaowen just came back from abroad. He told Lin Xiaowen about the news as a joke. The iceberg that I had tried to melt for 10 years completely turned into nothingness the moment Lin Xiaowen came back. Can a soul feel heartache? I just felt that I couldn't catch my breath. In the suitcase, that feeling of despair and suffocation swept over me again. Fu Xingzhou, who was holding Lin Xiaowen, had an even darker expression. Why hasn't she come yet? Make her reflect. After all these days, she still doesn't know how to be good. Could it be that she's just being stubborn? I stared at him coldly. He was so flustered that his hands were shaking while playing with the beads, and there was a trace of uneasiness in his eyes. "And I'll go and see what she's up to. Don't worry. I'll make her apologize to you." Fu Xingzhou got up and strode towards my confinement room. When he reached the door, he frowned uncomfortably and covered his nose. "Why does it smell so bad?" The assistant stood behind Fu Xingzhou, his back soaked in cold sweat. "Mr. Fu, you'd better see for yourself." I didn't know what to think, but my spirit was extremely tense. It must take a lot of courage to see my miserable death. Fu Xingzhou pushed open the door. The suitcase had been dragged out of the wardrobe and thrown on the floor. The zipper was half open and then covered up in a clumsy attempt to hide it. Fu Xingzhou stared at the suitcase with a hint of annoyance. "Su Jiqing, I let you out but you still won't come out. Do you want to stay in the suitcase for the rest of your life? Was it that I didn't want to come out? I had been struggling desperately until I died, just wanting to see the sunlight again, but I had no chance. What kind of temper are you throwing? You don't know what's good for you, do you?" He walked up to the suitcase. The strong stench made him unable to open his eyes, but he still went on. He kicked the suitcase. It stinks so much. Clean yourself up quickly. Who are you trying to disgust? He used so much force that the suitcase was kicked over, and the lid was completely opened. Without any warning, I faced my terrifying appearance. The body in the suitcase was twisted eerily. The arm was broken at a 90-degree angle. The look of horror remained on the face. The eyes and mouth were wide open. The eyeballs were protruding. The lower body was covered with dried blood. Fu Xingzhou stepped back in a panic, and his voice trembled. Who put this dead thing here? Where is Su Jiqing? Find her. Do you think you can escape just by putting a fake here? I, Fu Xingzhou, am not a fool. Find her for me. I laughed until tears fell. What kind of innocent act was this? I was lying there. The body was stinking. Where else could you find me? Madame Fu, she's dead. The body is stinking. Fu Xingzhou glared viciously at the assistant. You're talking nonsense. Are you helping her lie to me? Am I that stupid? Do you think I'll believe she's dead just because of a stinking fake? Search every corner. I will find her. He walked out regardless and had the door locked. At the same time, he sent people to investigate my whereabouts. Lin Xiaowen saw his serious expression and trotted over. She stood on tiptoe and hugged his neck. Brother Xingzhou, what's wrong? Did Sister Su make you angry again? Don't be afraid. Anin is with you. Fu Xingzhou picked her up and sat on the sofa. His voice was still shaking. She went too far this time. She faked her death and ran away. But no matter where she goes, I will find her. She still owes you an apology. I will make her say it with her own mouth. I just felt ridiculous. He called up the surveillance footage of the room. It clearly showed that after I was locked in, I screamed and struggled until I gradually lost my voice. But Fu Xingzhou still didn't believe it. The footage was the same later. It was too easy to edit. Su Jiqing, you really did it seamlessly. He punched the computer fiercely. Lin Xiaowen was frightened by his sudden outburst and hugged him with red eyes. After Fu Xingzhou realized it, he coaxed Lin Xiaowen tenderly. Anin, don't be afraid. I'm just angry that she has no sense of responsibility and wants to run away. Don't worry. I will catch her before your birthday. Then I will make her kneel and apologize to you in front of everyone. Lin Xiaowen's eyes were full of pride. She gave Fu Xingzhou a kiss on the forehead, as light as a dragonfly touching the water, but it made Fu Xingzhou blush. I was even a bit embarrassed. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to peek at your happiness. I actually knew about Lin Xiaowen's existence from the beginning. When I started liking Fu Xingzhou, I knew. The background of his WeChat moments was a childhood photo of him and Lin Xiaowen. In the photo, the little Lin Xiaowen smiled brightly at the camera, and he looked at Lin Xiaowen with the love in his eyes that couldn't be hidden. Liking someone is so straightforward and flamboyant, just like me. I used a lot of connections to inquire and found out that Lin Xiaowen already had a boyfriend. Then I set my mind and launched an offensive against Fu Xingzhou. I dreamed that the blatant favoritism would also be tilted towards me. The day he confessed to me, he specially changed the background of his WeChat moments to a childhood photo of me alone. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep all night. I kept refreshing his homepage and taking screenshots to show off to all my friends. My best friend laughed at me for being infatuated. I didn't refute. Fu Xingzhou, he's special to me. When I was bullied on campus in high school and blocked in the alley, he stood in front of me wearing a white shirt. His youthful spirit was like a savior to me. I carefully tugged at the corner of his shirt. Under his protection, I finally saw the light. I couldn't help but like him, even though he told me again and again that he was just passing by and had no other feelings for me. I tossed my ponytail and didn't care about anything. But I have feelings for you. I saw him picking up Lin Xiaowen from the art high school next door. After crying all night, I summoned up the courage to ask him, "Is that girl your girlfriend?" It took him a long time to reply to me. What's wrong with the girl next door? I've lost count of how many times my emotions have been easily swayed by him. I'm enamored with his icy cold and indifferent face, his thin yet resolute back when he stood in front of me, the delicate fluttering of his beautiful eyelashes beneath his glasses when he helplessly told me, "Study hard." High school students aren't supposed to date. Thus, the once decadent me strived to catch up, all for the sake of getting closer to him. I regarded him as my spiritual sustenance, my salvation. How could I have forgotten that in fact Fu Xingzhou is just an ordinary person? Without his halo, he's a scoundrel who neither lets go of his pursuers nor gives up on his mistress. For the sake of profit, he could insincerely say he loves me and will always be by my side. The photo as the background of his moments only lasted for 3 days, and after that it turned completely black. After my parents passed away in an accident, he pretended to console me with a heartbroken look, while actually already scheming for my family fortune. Even when he brutally stuffed me into the suitcase, I cried and begged him, "Xingzhou, don't do this to me. I'll really die." He glared at me with blood-red eyes and said in a bone-chilling tone, "Are you threatening me? You're already an orphan with no father or mother. Who else would care about your life or death?" I struggled and resisted, only to see his face gradually distort and his actions become even more violent. "You scared N. You deserve to die." In that tiny suitcase, I had to breathe with the utmost care. What was I thinking in the last moment before my death? I was regretting my arrogance and thinking that love could overcome all difficulties. Fu Xingzhou was right. There's no one in this world who loves me anymore. I thought I had glimpsed the light by relying on his embrace and recklessly chased forward. But beyond that inch of sunlight, what awaited me was an abyss. I was so stupid. These days, it seems that Fu Xingzhou has completely forgotten about me. For Lin Xiaowen's birthday party, he busied himself for a long time, using his connections to invite a well-known orchestra and her favorite singer. He spent a fortune just to make the beauty smile. So ironic. All this money of his was plundered from me. When he married me, his gaming company was on the verge of collapse. I gave my all to help him, even mortgaging my old house. With the money, he could focus on research and development, and the company came back to life. After its release, it became an instant hit across the entire network. He became a hotshot new business tycoon. I was sincerely happy for him, but now it has all turned into a sharp blade stabbing me. After Lin Xiaowen went abroad for university, she quickly attached herself to a foreign rich second generation. 3 months ago, her relationship encountered a setback, and she returned to the country feeling dejected. Fu Xingzhou was like a whirlwind. He even waited at the airport 3 hours in advance. I was a bit displeased and he told me, "She's like a sister to me. I can't just ignore her." I used this excuse to deceive myself, until I saw the Confession of the Lost Tycoon on the trending search. Lost is the name of Fu Xingzhou's company's popular game. I clicked in and found that the game official had released a huge gift package. The email subject was a gift of true love. The president's good news. The date of the gift package release was exactly the day I used a pregnancy test and saw 2 lines. I placed the positive pregnancy test in the master bedroom bathroom, wanting to give him a surprise. I thought that was his way of confessing to me, the usually taciturn him. Netizens were excitedly discussing. The romance of a straight guy really touches me. I just don't know if the president's wife can handle it. Is this luring people in and then stabbing them in the back? There's so much in the package. I guess I'll have to accept it with tears in my eyes. That night, I cooked a table full of dishes, waiting for him to come back with full of joy. But I forgot that the date of the gift package release was also the day Lin Xiaowen returned to the country. He didn't come back all night. I deceived myself again, thinking he must have had business to attend to, must have been busy with work. In fact, it wasn't. Anyway, now that I'm dead, I don't need to deceive myself anymore. That day, Fu Xingzhou was accompanying Lin Xiaowen, having a candlelight dinner at the top-tier couple's restaurant indoors. In the comment section of the trending search, someone posted a picture. In the high-altitude restaurant, there was a tall and handsome man opposite a shy girl whose face couldn't be seen clearly. The light was dim. Netizens were going crazy over this. I sat at the dining table, waiting until the candlelight went out. The wick flickered weakly twice and then fell silent. Well, no matter how carefully I cooked, it couldn't compare to the delicate plating of a Michelin-starred chef. Just like now, I'm like a rotting and stinking rat in the gutter, while Lin Xiaowen stands in the middle of a resplendent stage. The delicate crown makes her look as noble as a princess. Thank you, Brother Fu, for preparing this birthday party for me. It's just a pity that sister-in-law couldn't come today. For my birthday wish, I hope Brother Fu will always be happy and that sister-in-law will be nicer to Brother Fu and stop bullying him. The fireworks exploded, and the streamers fell and got caught in Lin Xiaowen's hair. Fu Xingzhou affectionately stroked her head, cut the streamer for her, and asked with a smile why she didn't make a wish for herself. Lin Xiaowen smiled brightly. I only hope you're well. Fu Xingzhou still hasn't given up looking for me. He mobilized a large number of people and gave the order that he wanted to see me alive or my body if I was dead. I really wanted to laugh. It's not like he hasn't seen me. What's he pretending for? After the birthday party, Fu Xingzhou was a bit drunk. He put his arm around Lin Xiaowen and said with a hint of guilt, Su Jiqing has disappeared. I couldn't make her apologize to you in public. I'm sorry for making you feel wronged. When I catch her, I'll definitely make it up to you. Lin Xiaowen said softly. It's okay, Brother Xingzhou. I'm already very content with you being good to me. Sister Jiqing was just jealous and wanted me to back off. I don't have the right to blame her. She must have her own things to be busy with these days. Brother, don't be too harsh on her. I'm a woman too, and I feel sorry for her. Fu Xingzhou sighed and tightened his arm around Lin Xiaowen. Why are you always so understanding? But to my surprise, tonight he actually made an excuse of having something to do. After sending Lin Xiaowen home, he drove to the company and walked to the door of my confinement room. This entire building was bought by Fu Xingzhou. Half of the shares in it are mine, but now it has become the graveyard where I lost my life. The confinement room in the corner of the top floor was originally used to store sundries. The out-of-place dark red wardrobe was specially brought up by Fu Xingzhou to punish me. He has never been so attentive in loving me, but harming me came easily to him. Fu Xingzhou frowned tightly, as if suffering from the stench. He stopped at the door, his hand on the switch, but he didn't turn it on for a long time. Su Jiqing, if I find out that you're really causing trouble, I will never let you go. He couldn't stop retching. As if making a great determination, he pushed the door open. Inside the room there was complete silence. Under the dim light, the suitcase in the middle of the room, with dark red blood seeping out, was particularly eye-catching. It was such an eerie scene that even I was a bit scared. But then I thought I should be the most resentful ghost here. What do I have to be afraid of? I've always been a coward. Seeing that I died in such a horrible way, I would subconsciously be afraid of my own corpse. Fu Xingzhou walked to the middle of the room and stopped in front of my suitcase. I floated around him and keenly noticed that his legs were trembling slightly. Somehow, I suddenly really wanted to scare him, so I blew a breath on his neck. Almost instantly his legs went weak and he fell to the ground, but coincidentally he fell on that suitcase. I felt a bit regretful. His buttocks landed on my corpse and it probably made my corpse look even more hideous. He bounced away immediately and nervously looked around at the air. If I find out that you're playing tricks on me, I'll definitely skin you alive. I shook my head. I'm almost completely decayed. Skinning me should be quite easy, considering I'm already rotting. Fu Xingzhou couldn't hear my inner monologue. He squatted in front of the suitcase, his eyes blood red and barely able to open because of the stench of my corpse. In fact, I'm a very clean-loving person. I never thought I would end up in such a tragic state. Su Jiqing, I really don't believe you would die so easily. He said this very firmly, as if trying to boost his own courage. But his hand, which was hesitating to open the suitcase, was still shaking. I really wanted to mock him. I'm not made of steel, nor am I a fairy or a demon. I'm just an ordinary pregnant woman. It would be scarier if I didn't die. He hesitated for a long time and then suddenly summoned up his courage and opened the suitcase with a jerk. I also faced my own hideous state. My face was completely rotten, and there was a dent from his buttocks. Fu Xingzhou is so despicable. He even insulted me after I'm dead. I saw that his whole body froze, his eyes wide open, staring straight at my corpse. Su Jiqing, don't try to deceive me. You're acting, right? His eyes were dull. He reached out to touch my corpse but retracted his hand in horror just before touching it. I hid in front of him and carefully looked at his face. There was fear, regret, and helplessness on his face but no sadness. It's just a suitcase. How could it trap you? You didn't want to come out yourself, right? Su Jiqing, I didn't mean to kill you. Please don't haunt me. I hid in front of him and watched his face distort in fear. I smiled absent-mindedly. He was just scared. He was just afraid that my death would bring him trouble. Su Jiqing, why are you being so reckless? He suddenly stared at me viciously. Are you doing this on purpose? Do you want to take revenge on me by dying? You're so heartless. Do you think I'll never forget you like this? Forget it. I hugged my knees. My heart was already empty. I'm already dead. What else can I hope for? My biggest wish is that you'll quickly be brought to justice and go to prison. The law is all-encompassing and you can't escape. But I didn't expect that he was acting like a madman. He dragged me out of the suitcase, laid my body on the ground, and carefully arranged it. No, you can't die. What will I do if you die? I won't allow it. Are you crazy? I'm already dead. Can't you let me have some dignity? I only hate that I don't have the ability to reach for my phone and call the police. He must be charged with the crime of insulting a corpse. His trembling fingertips probed into my lower abdomen. Su Jiqing, did you commit suicide out of guilt? Are you afraid that I'll find out the child you're carrying isn't mine? I don't believe it. You must feel guilty towards me. He stood up, acting like a lunatic. After leaving the confinement room, he locked the door firmly. I'll find someone to investigate you. There must be something shady about you. Otherwise, why would you die? Su Jiqing, I will uncover your true face. I was so angry that I was about to go crazy. I blew hard on his neck, wanting to turn into a vengeful ghost and seek retribution from him. But no matter what I did, he didn't notice. So boring. Let him investigate. My conscience is clear and I have nothing to fear. Not knowing the truth before the investigation, he was quite unhappy with all the results. On the day Lin Xiaowen returned to the country, I secretly put the pregnancy test in the bathroom. Then I posted on my small Weibo account. I've been taking care of Zhozhou's health for half a year. And finally there's a result. I'm finally going to have a love child with him. Photos of Fu Xingzhou and Lin Xiaowen together were posted online. I just complained in my small account. Don't forget about me. When he was helping Lin Xiaowen deal with things abroad, I said, I married someone who is really nice. He's especially kind. He can't bear to see anyone being wronged, just like he treated me before. All the more than 4,000 words of my ramblings were the result of brainwashing myself. At the same time, the private detective he hired found out that after Lin Xiaowen returned to the country, she didn't break off contact with her ex-husband abroad. She even took the initiative to contact him many times. The chat content was extremely explicit. Even the elevator accident that day was because Lin Xiaowen took the initiative to stop the elevator, and that's why it got stuck in the interlayer. All these things laid out in the open made Fu Xingzhou extremely depressed. Later, when Lin Xiaowen came to act coquettishly with him, he threw all the evidence in her face and said coldly, Is this how you repay me? Lin Xiaowen's face, pretending to be delicate, almost couldn't hold up. After her mouth twitched awkwardly, she said in a hoarse voice, I did this because I love you so much, brother Xingzhou. Fu Xingzhou was extremely angry, but his raised hand never came down. In fact, no matter how much Lin Xiaowen did, he couldn't bear to hurt her. But what about me? I was charged with unwarranted crimes and even lost my life. It turns out that you don't necessarily have to apologize for doing something wrong. Lin Xiaowen didn't have to. I shook my head self-mockingly and felt extremely annoyed. Brother Xingzhou, things have come to this. Let's go abroad together. I have connections abroad and I'll protect you. Fu Xingzhou was silent for a while and then lowered his head. Why? I was going crazy rummaging around the room. But no matter what I did, I couldn't change anything. That feeling of despair and helplessness came back. The pain in my body became more intense. Why does a ghost feel pain? The stabbing pain in my lower abdomen, the bent arm, and the dull blows one after another. I'm really unwilling. 10 years of sincere love only ended up with my bones. I'm really unwilling. I roared furiously, feeling the burning sensation surging in my soul. There was only one obsession in my heart. I want him to pay for my death and for my unborn child. A violent storm swept through and blew the notebook hidden on the bookshelf. The page that was opened was written by me when I was 22. If anyone betrays the other, they will go to hell. Below this sentence, Fu Xingzhou's handwriting was flowing. That year, he confessed to me and said that in the future, he would follow me like a tail. The wind blew again and turned the pages of the diary. The old paper was already yellowish, and the handwriting was a bit blurred, as if there were tears spilled. That was when I was 21. When my parents passed away, the great grief weighed on me. I cried and wrote, There will never be anyone in this world who loves me unconditionally. Below the crooked handwriting, Fu Xingzhou's message was firm. I will always be by your side. The wind turned the diary to the beginning, the time manual of me and him. A thunderclap sounded, and the pregnancy test form scattered on the bookshelf hit Fu Xingzhou in the face. He leaned on the table, his legs trembling slightly. His eyes were wandering. I stood beside him and roared with all my strength. Fu Xingzhou, why did you treat me like this? Lin Xiaowen screamed and ran out of the room. I ignored her. With red eyes, I stared at the man I had loved for 10 years. If you don't love me, why didn't you let me go earlier? Is my love just for your benefit? He looked around in a panic and said in a hoarse voice, Is that you, Jiqing? His voice was dry like a dry wooden board rubbing. I'm sorry for you. I suddenly contained my anger. Half a month later, the smell of the corpse couldn't be hidden anymore. The police came to investigate and found President Fu Xingzhou squatting beside the corpse, his eyes dull. After the investigation, Fu Xingzhou was arrested according to the law. When he was being dragged out of the company building, he kept resisting and struggling. No one can separate me from Jiqing. Even after being forced into the police car, his roars didn't stop. In fact, all I did was to put all the evidence of loving him in front of him bit by bit. That was the only thing I could do as a soul. He saw that pregnancy test a week ago. Lin Xiaowen lost patience with his madness. Finally, she decided to give up. She used the internal information of his company to successfully get a job in his rival company. Fu Xingzhou was very angry, but his pride wouldn't allow him to bow his head. I tortured him tirelessly. He became haggard quickly. When that pregnancy test fell into his mouthwash cup, he finally couldn't stand it anymore. He ran into the confinement room and shouted. Holding my corpse, he asked me, Jiqing, don't be angry. Come back, okay? This time I finally woke up and stopped deceiving myself. He still doesn't love me. His helplessness and madness were just because he was betrayed and needed a familiar support. For 10 years, no one knew him better than me, and no one could give him more a sense of security than me. It's a pity that I'm not a tool, not a person who can be summoned and dismissed at will. His venting of anger cost me my life. I will use the last strength of my soul to drive him crazy. Even if I'm reduced to ashes, even if I fall into the abyss. When he was in court, he still held that pregnancy test. I thought his decadent appearance was so strange, but the knot in my heart gradually eased. He was sentenced to death with a reprieve. After the verdict was announced, he suddenly said, I have a question. Is the child in the belly mine? The court was silent for a long time. Finally, his lawyer told him, the autopsy results show that the child is indeed yours. Fu Xingzhou suddenly laughed. I think he was laughing at himself. Will he regret it? Think he will. Because of interest, because of his future, because of that child. But I know that not a bit of it is because of me. It's only after I die that I'm truly awake. He doesn't love me and he loves me the least. After Fu Xingzhou was imprisoned, my soul became much freer. I don't have to be trapped by his side anymore and can float around. I used a little effort to really lock Lin Xiaowen in the elevator interlayer. There was no signal on her phone. She cried out in fear. I kept blowing on her from behind. Finally, she fainted to the ground. I couldn't tell if it was real or fake. Feeling a bit bored, I left. My body became lighter and lighter. I had a premonition. At the last moment, I chose to float in front of my parents' grave. Sitting there, I babbled. If there's an afterlife, I hope someone will love me just like I loved Fu Xingzhou. I don't know if I have the chance to see my parents. I subconsciously touched my belly. There used to be my most precious baby here. Another night passed. A blinding light came from the west. I quickly turned around and saw the two faces I missed the most and were most familiar with. My parents, holding a little girl, looked at me with a smile. I ran over quickly. My mother shed a tear. You've suffered, baby. I ran to my mother and leaned on her shoulder. Happiness filled me. It's so good, Mom. The little girl in my mother's arms, a bit restrained, said carefully. It's so good that everyone is here.